Almost an Angel. What was this? 1990. 1 hour, 30 minutes roughly. Tall Hogan as Terry. Oh, let's get into it. I can tell you're enthused to talk about this movie. Sure.
I'm not impressed.
We open up in prison. Paul Hogan is there and he's helping some guards fix an electricity box because there's nothing he can't do. So there was release. Upon release, he instantly goes and robs a bank.
You should hold up banks.
And he's disguised as country singer Willie Nelson. And I have to say, it's a pretty incredible disguise. It looks just like Willie Nelson. It leads to probably the only time in the movie that I laughed, because the police come in to find out about the bank robbery. They're speaking to the bank managers, and the bank managers are speaking about how they should have asked for Willie Nelson's autograph. One of them saying that, the other one's saying, well, I'm not, I was more concerned about the robbery. And the first guy says, yeah, he's not really a Willie Nelson fan. And the second guy says, well, I was, but his last album, it's just all love songs, so it's not really my thing. The first guy says, well, it's really good if you like love songs. And it's a bit of back and forth like that. Yeah, get to the point. Well, eventually the police figure out they are talking about Willie Nelson, the singer. And one of the detectives says, why would Willie Nelson need to rob a bank? Yeah, and the second bank manager says, had you heard his last album? That was pretty funny. Later on, we see Terry walking down the street. He sees a kid run onto the road in front of a van. He runs and barges the kid out of the way, and he's hit by the van. Yeah, we see him in hospital lying unconscious, and he sees God. And it's Charlton Heston. It's Charlton Heston. And Charlton Heston basically tells him, yes, you were killed, but you have to prove yourself on Earth because you're almost an angel, but not quite. Yeah, like he's on tradition. So he wakes up in hospital and he thinks, okay, I guess I have to prove myself to be an angel. And then he instantly tries to rob a bank. Yes, he does. He dresses up as Rod Stewart this time. Not quite as good a disguise, but still not bad. Yeah, and then actual bank robbers come in. Yeah, they do. They hold up the bank. They take all the money and they run off. Terry tries to give chase for some reason. Yeah, that one of the bank robbers shoots a gun at him and they don't hit him at all. No, they're point blank. And Terry says, I don't have a single bullet in me. That should have blown my head off. Yeah, and the bank robbers are driving away and the guy that had the gun is saying, oh, how did I miss? How did I miss? And then the driver says, you didn't miss. I knew you would panic, so I replaced your bullets with blanks. That Terry doesn't know this. He thinks it's further proof that he is an angel. Yeah, even though he tried to rob a bank instantly. Yeah. He leaves town, hides out in this little small town where he goes into a bar. He meets a guy called Steve. Yeah, this guy in a wheelchair, right? And everyone in town is like, hey, look at the critter. Yeah, it's not really a word we use anymore. Terry befriends him, and instantly Steve says, why don't you come and stay at my house tonight?
You what?
Yeah, with my sister and my mother. I'm sure there'll be no risk, stranger. So the next morning in the kitchen, Rose, Steve's sister, she's saying, why did you bring back a strange guy? He could be an axe murderer or anything. Yeah, and another saying, no, I saw him reading the Bible. He must be a good guy, because no serial killers ever read the Bible. Pretty quickly, Terry wins over Rose though, because she works in a rec centre for deprived kids in the area. Yeah. So Terry says, I'll come down and I'll fix the arcade machines, because he hears it's broken. Yeah. While he's there, he also starts teaching boxing to the kids. Yeah, he's a real saint. After this, Terry's walking through the town and he's almost mugged. Yeah, for no reason. And these two guys are like, hey, give me all your money. That Terry beats them up. And then Steve comes along and helps beat them up as well. And then Terry and Steve pretend to be mafia people and they scare the guys off. And then you hear Godfather type music playing. Yeah. What's the point in this scene? I don't know, I really don't know. Just wanted to squeeze in a little mafia reference, I guess. Nady. After this, Terry confesses to Steve that he's an angel on probation. Yeah, almost an angel. And Steve believes him. Yeah. Later on, we find out that the local councillors are going to shut down the rec centre. They don't think it holds much value. Rose is very upset. The kids are very upset. What can be done? What can be done?
What can be done?
They need a miracle. So that night, Terry breaks into the local councillor's house, yet he wires up the TV with an external generator, and he plays a videotape saying, "Listen to me, don't send any more money to these tele-evangelists. Use the money to keep the rec centre open." So the councillor and his wife wake up and they're like, "Oh my goodness, the TV isn't plugged in. How's this happening? It's a sign from God." And the councillor's convinced to at least go and see what the rec centre is doing, see if there's any way he can find it in his heart to keep the place open. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about his heart. I think it's about economics. So the next night, the councillor, George, he goes along to the rec centre to see, is it worth saving? But the detectives from the bank robbery earlier have turned up in this town because they've traced down where they think Terry might be. Someone IDs Steve as Terry's friend. One of the cops starts to chase Steve, who's carrying a bag of bottles of wine or whatever on his lap, because he's going to take him to the rec centre in hope of celebration, because hopefully the council will keep the rec centre open. So he's on his wheelchair, rolling along, and the cops shout out, "Hey you!" And instantly, and for no reason at all, Steve decides, let's run away. So he starts to run away, and he takes a shortcut through some sort of timber yard or something. Yeah, Steve rolls under this wooden beam, and the cop doesn't see it and bangs his head, and he's knocked out. Probably seriously injured, like. Yeah, but during all this, the bottles have smashed on Steve's lap, and they've cut into his legs. He didn't feel it because, he's paralysed from the waist down. Yeah, that we see blood tumping out of his legs. Yeah, it's not good. Terry and Rose come round the corner and find Steve sitting almost passed out, white as a sheet, blood pouring from his legs. Yeah, and they say, "Guess what? The rec centre has been saved. Yay!" It happened off screen. We don't know how or why. It's just, that's the way it is. The rec centre is saved though. So they're trying to tell Steve this. Steve is almost dying. Yeah, and then he says, "Terry, please, tell me you aren't faking it. Tell me you're really an angel. There really is a God." Now Terry has rigged up the cross on top of the local church to light up and play music when he presses a button on his remote control. And we saw this earlier. So when Steve asks for proof that he's an angel, the cross behind him lights up. Music, heavenly music plays. And Steve is like, "Oh, thank you. I knew you were an angel. I'm so happy." And then he dies. Yeah, he seems to just die. Rose has a little cry. Not that much. No, a little bit of a cry. Sure, he drops dead. Yeah, then an ambulance turns up and takes him away, so I don't really know. Terry scarpers at the first sign of any kind of emergency service turning up. He runs off. Rose is like, "Oh, where are you, Terry? Now that Steve's gone, I need someone." Yeah, he doesn't care. He is off-ski. Rose finds something on the ground. It's the remote control for the light up cross and the music that Terry played for Steve. Yeah, and she takes it up and presses it and nothing happens. And she opens it and there's no batteries. It really was a miracle.
It's a miracle.
I guess so. She chases after Terry. He's walking along the side of the highway. Yeah. And she shouts, "Terry, Terry, come back. I believe you." Terry turns round. He waves. He says, "I'll be back." And then he slaps on the road. Yeah, slaps right into the path of an oncoming truck. And it goes right through him. He's actually an angel. What? This is, I don't know how or why or when this happened, but he actually is now an angel. Rose smiles and waves. Terry smiles and waves. And that's the end of the movie. Don't waste your time. It could have been a great little story. And it could have been great if at the end, I thought he was going to get hit by the truck. And then he actually would be an angel. I thought that's what was going to happen. I had that idea as well. Or he's hit by a truck and realises he was never an angel, but he doesn't have to be because he can still do good in the world. Yeah, none of that happens. Just for some reason, it turns out he's an angel. Just because. Almost an Angel from 1990. It's up to you if you want to watch it. I won't watch it again. I probably won't either. It's not terrible. It's just, it's quite dull in a lot of places. It is actually. The middle section's a bit like, come on, get to the point sort of thing. Yeah, and then when you get to the point that he's an angel, you're like, oh, forget it. Give me the 90-minute stack, please. Anyway, hit like, hit subscribe, share. See you next time. Willie Nelson.